Hello, people. This is a Seattle Seahawks podcast. We're going to be looking at Byron Murphy II and his tape versus the Alabama Crimson Tide at the Alabama Crimson Tide, where it's an impressive performance, one he cited himself when he got drafted by Seattle, talking with the local beat reporters on the conference call, because he balled out in a number of ways, which do translate to the NFL. We'll tell you how that is, what it's going to look like in Mike Macdonald's defense, give you a year one, year three projection. Firstly, though, the preamble. If you don't like this part, then that's on you. But also, I do include the timestamps where you should be able to on YouTube. Just skip ahead. Or you can listen to the audio version of this podcast, which is available on Spotify, although we're still having some issues with how regularly that gets put on there, not through our own control, annoyingly, but hopefully they'll be resolved. I think 2 have gone up just now, so check them out if you haven't listened to them, and give us a 5-star review, etc, etc. Griff, though, this is the preamble. We're actually preambling before we came on air, which is why, chat, we are late, which, sorry, I mean, it's kind of our rep.
We were having a little chit chat before we came on. Pontificating.
Yeah, we do. Apparently, we have chemistry.
Yeah, wandering mindlessly through our various streams of consciousness.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
Matty,
drinking...
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I haven't watched anything yet.
Why not, Matty?
I'm drinking water out of a glass bottle.
You can drink water out of a glass bottle while watching British cinema that you've
True. But it made me think like milk out of a glass bottle always feels, not that I have milk that often at all, but it always feels like a bit, more premium. Water out of a glass bottle feels ridiculous. It's like,
yeah,
this is fancy.
Right. No, that's true. That's very true. I wonder what the psychology is behind that. Is it just the idea that we imbue a glass bottle with more worth than a plastic? Or
no, I don't think so. I think it has more heft to it, and it's cooler than plastic.
It's definitely cooler. That's important. Look good, feel good, drink good. More heft. Interesting.
What, you wouldn't use the word heft?
No. It's not that I wouldn't use it; it's that I wouldn't think to use it.
Oh.
No, I get it now.
I know what we should talk about. The Northern Lights.
Okay.
That happened, right?
Yeah. Did you see
Or did it? Well, here's the thing.
I wasn't able to see it. I looked. Pretty sure I looked north. And I didn't see anything.
Here's the thing. They apparently, where I was, and I imagine it's similar to where you guys were, but from my time, local time, 10 p.m. to 2 a.m., they could be seen. Yeah. But that was the one night. I went to bed at 9 p.m. and slept until, I think, 10 p.m. Like, straight up.
For an hour.
No. I went to bed at 9 p.m. and woke up at 10 a.m. So I absolutely crashed.
Wow. Oh, my God.
Yeah, I went for it. Yeah, I missed them. I was so bummed.
It's too bad.
Well, it's one of those things as well where I was like, okay, yeah, like someone's heard about it on TikTok. Okay, sure. I'm sure you'll be able to see them in London. Yes, and then Emily was like, someone's seen them in Birmingham, and I was like, yeah, that's not South, that's the Midlands. So that's not London. And she's like, oh, someone's seen them here. I was like, well, that's not near us, is it?
Yeah.
We couldn't see them. We're near Heathrow, so there's probably too much pollution anyway. And then she's like, oh, someone's seen them here. I was like, oh, well, where are they? And they're like a mile from us. And I was like, great. So anyway, I didn't see them.
That's too bad.
And you didn't see them.
I live in a remote enough area on a mountain, and you'd think I would look up to the sky,
right?
But
what?
I couldn't see them. There was like the faintest haze that wasn't like.
Did you?
colored.
Now this, I don't want to be insensitive here, right? This is actually disrespectful. I don't mean it to come across like this, but were you wearing your glasses?
Yeah, I was wearing my specs.
Okay.
I even took my phone out
Right, because
no,
that's the other thing. I was like,
I don't
did
know what I
people
was
see them or did they experience them through their phone?
right. Yeah, bro. I don't know what I was doing wrong. Like, was I looking wrong? Was I not squinting hard enough? Um,
Did you do a full like scan of the sky,
yeah,
or were you
I
looking
did
at
a
north?
full omnidirectional. You
Are
know,
they? Oh, this is a stupid question, but this is a very stupid question. Do you have to look north to see the northern lights?
you would think.
You'd
And
think,
so I
right?
definitely looked north, but I looked south, east, and west just in case. And I don't know what I was doing wrong. Um,
Huh.
but see, my neighbor, I think I missed it by an hour, I think is what happened. I was talking to some neighbors the following day and they got pictures of it. And I said, well, what time were you out there? And they said when they were, and I was like an hour off. Apparently it was like from like 10:30 to like midnight and then again from like 1:30 a.m. to like 3 a.m. where we were is when people were saying they got the best photos. And I literally went out there at like 12:30. So I think I was out there for like 15 minutes. I'm like, am I something supposed to happen? Anyway,
Great.
went on the hike recently. Didn't see any bears, but I did see evidence of bears, paw prints,
Oh,
uh,
and I
scratching.
saw a few paws of your own, huh?
Yeah, well, for scale to show like
Perspective.
that they weren't that big actually. Well, there was a cub. There was a big one and a small one, and I think the big one had to have been the mother, but I guess there could have been. I don't know. I thought that the bigger paw was smaller than I would have thought. Anyway,
I saw your hand size and vascularity was being praised,
well, I was on a hike, so my heart rate was up. So it
and your
makes
hand
sense.
size.
I've got 8. My hands are like 9 inches. That's like small by NFL standards.
Pathetic.
Um, but I learned that when you see claw marks on a tree from like a bear specifically, not like a cougar, but a bear, I always assumed that was just them like wanting to scratch their nails because it feels good, or like grind their nails down or their
Mm,
claws down. But apparently, they're marking their territory.
right.
They're
Whereas
dropping.
if you see a cougar's claw marks on a piece of wood, you know what that means.
What does that mean?
Oh, I don't know. Anyway, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. What does it mean with bear? They're marking the territory.
Yeah, and I wouldn't have thought that. So they're signaling to other black bears like, "Yo, someone lives here." I find that interesting.
Is it slightly different depending on the color of the bear? Do like all types of bears do it?
I would think, but we only have one species of bear where I'm at, so
Right.
you
Right.
know. All
No
right.
bears here. Anyway, good to see you, chat. And a misfit. I see you talking about Before the Noise episode 2. What misfit was interesting about Before the Noise episode 2? Because I watched episode 1, and it's cool what they're doing. A kind of behind the scenes look at the Seahawks. Now, I don't have that high opinion of myself. However, I think my sleuthing of trying to zoom in on everything, it probably dissuades, along with other people doing that, probably dissuades them showing anything meaningful. But yeah, that's good to know that episode 2 was interesting. I'd like to know more about that. Right. Are we going to... Oh, the snail saying apparently it's wherever the solar storm hits the magnetic field. Yes, I thought there might be a bit more to it.
Mm, mm,
Interesting.
mm. Hit it, Matty.
Welcome to the Seattle Overload podcast, where Griffin and I are going to start a look at the Seattle Seahawks draft picks from the 2024 draft and their tape. First up, we have Byron Murphy II, Seattle selection at 16 overall in the 2024 NFL draft, the defensive tackle out of Texas. And what's nice about him playing at Texas is, one, they made the college football playoff, and we've already watched him against the Washington Huskies, who obviously went on to the final. They're a high level of competition. and they had Ryan Grubb there. They had Huff there as the O-line coach. There's a real Seattle link, so make sure you check that episode out. But in this episode, we're going to look at a game that Murphy referenced himself, a game against the Alabama Crimson Tide at the Tide in week 2 of the college football season, when Texas established themselves as a real, formidable team. And Murphy was keen to praise, well, not praise, keen to point out to beat reporters that he was impressed with that game. That was some of his best tape. And there's a lot of aspects in this game that we can look at and translate to the pros. Think about what it looks like in Mike Macdonald's defense. Wow, that's exciting. And give a year 1, year 3 projection on what it's going to look like. So, Griff, we've talked about Murphy ad nauseum. We've already talked about him on the live show, then when we're giving our draft grades. But what are you hoping to see from this tape? What are you expecting to see from this tape specifically?
This tape from Alabama just confirms the notion of who Byron Murphy is, and that's a very explosive, strong, twitched up, leverage-oriented player, high density, packs a punch, can get vertical, and then he also shows his traits to kind of bend and change direction, but he's not doing it over guards so much. So we want to hunt for snaps that would translate to like rushing the outside half of a guard, because that's what he's going to be doing the most of in the NFL. Again, he's a 3 technique that can play nose tackle. He's not a nose tackle that could play 3 technique. The way Texas used him is not how Seattle will use him. There will be some overlap, but yeah, that's where we're looking for. Like, how will this guy look when it's 3rd and 6? He's in a loose 3, a wide 3 alignment, and he's got to get heat on a guard. That's what we want to see.
Yeah, I mean, I think what we're going to see as well, as you're mentioning, is while the vision for him year 3 with Macdonald will be he's going to be a 3 tech, he's going to be getting used like Justin Madubuike was. Obviously, Jaron Reed by year 3 and Murphy's time in the system is not going to be there anymore, or unless something remarkable happens. Leonard Williams even might not be there anymore. It all depends, right? Thinking about the length of his contract, his age as well. But year 1 maybe, and also just thinking about how he's going to get on the field in the NFL, he might be using, playing in, like right here, we see him as a head-up nose tackle, as a 0 technique. He's going to play a lot of the 2-eye nose tackle, which he has the versatility to do both those nose tackle stuff, play nose in base, so the 3-4 looks, which McDonald only ran 21% at the time last season. We expect that usage to be fairly similar, although maybe upped slightly in a run-heavy NFC West. But then in the nickel stuff, he can play the 3 tech or the nose in the 4-down even fronts, and that's not unlike, Leonard Williams could do that. He could certainly do that. And Jaron Reed has that in his background as well, even though maybe he's better as a power stepping shaded nose. So that when Macdonald talks about versatility of the group that he has, that applies to the existing vets, but also to Murphy. So let's take a look at this stuff. Now, the tape we're watching is a zip file. I don't really know what that means, other than it takes up less space, but it also means that when the way that I do know it impacts us is when I play a clip through, it is very difficult for me to revisit it. So what we need to do is make sure we're done with the clip, and then it's gone forever. So in the chat, if you have a question, get it in early. We want you in the chat to be able to engage with this stuff. If you've got questions about something we've said, the reason you can tune in live, and what would be great is if we can have the interaction from you guys, and we can help you. So there you go, Sookman. That's a good question. We'll get to that in a bit. So here he's moving as a 0 technique, which, Griff, already this is kind of an example of what he can do with a wide angle on a guard.
Yeah, that's he's laterally phasing to the outfield half. Now it's a run play, right? But it's part of the defensive call, what he's doing here. But the traits there, the lateral movement's insane. But then look him work the outside half of the guard, right? And it's not like it's a normal pass set. The guard's trying to down block on him, but or base block. But look how he just opens up the outside half on the guard through sheer power. Like that's pretty nuts. The traits right there. Like if this was an RPO, if this was a throw, right? Or play out.
He's right in the window.
Yeah. So it definitely shows the traits. Like
yeah,
the
and
traits are there.
That's also an example of his natural pad level. You know, like being a shorter stature guy, he's going to be underneath the pads of dudes, along with the fact that he plays low. Okay, so that was 1st and 10. Obviously, here's it from the wide angle. I'll get used to how this works. That gives a good perspective of how in the backfield he got.
Yep.
Now, obviously, the guard knows that the play is going away from that movement, so there is a bit less resistance, but still.
Yeah. So playing a heavy 2-eye here.
This is a very good rep as well.
Yeah. Look at his eye progression. How quickly. I think he knows the guard is leaving pre-snap because he's kind of cheating the pull a little bit. He's like got depth behind the center. But so the guard leaves. He reads the tip of the shoulder pad, right? That shoulder pad is up, so he thinks, okay, he's leaving. So he immediately gets into the center.
Yep. Yep. So as soon as this guy departs, eyes inside, and think about you getting the down block here as a 2-eye nose. He's already alert to that, as Griff was saying, and then great hand usage to keep his chest clean and stack this guy. He's totally in control of this block right now.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see the wide copy here.
I like how he's in control of the block, as you said, that he's protecting the cutback. He doesn't cross face until the running back declares and follows the lead block, right?
Right.
And then he almost gets involved front side.
Does he trip the guy up at the end? No. Maybe. But it's valuable because his gap is this A gap, right? But when this guy pulls, really his gap is now this gap here. And then when they're pulling this guy as well, there's like another extra gap. So this is high level play from a 2-eye. It translates to playing a 4-eye as well on the inside shoulder of a tackle. But if you can cross the face of the down block when your guy pulls, it really does help your defense out. Now we've got a question here from Thinking Football. New name, good to see you in here. Did Texas tend to 1-gap or 2-gap last season? Its defense didn't get to see much of. They're mainly a 2-gap defense. Griff?
Yeah, 2-gap, and then like the gap and a half stuff when they go into 4 down.
Right.
But yeah, they're mirror stepping. They're playing with 2-gap technique, even if like the rules are different.
And that's an interesting point while again the projection in year 3 is that Murphy's more of like a 1-gap and 3 tech. Right now he hasn't necessarily been taught the footwork for that, and so there's a clip which we looked at when we did our training camp of rookie mini camp reaction videos off the beat reporters videos. We break that down live where he's doing a hoop drill, which is like pure about get off and bend around the corner, but he's almost doing it out like a 4-point, essentially more like a 2-gap and type stance, which is what he's comfortable with. But what they'll do is they'll try working him into more of like a more of a natural 3-point to really accent his get off and stuff like that. We will cover that type of question towards the end, the ceiling and floor player comps for what Byron Murphy can be. Let me hold on. Let me star these good questions. I can star these so I won't forget them. Thank you. All right. So here another 2-eye rep. And this is basically Murphy to a T right now. This is how he made his money as a pass rusher in college football.
Yeah.
Nor do you actually make money in college. Well, you kind of do now. Can you get NIL benefits for sacks and stuff and pressures? I guess.
Indirectly, maybe.
Yeah.
So the center slides away. I don't know if does he read that? Does he read that he has a two-way go off the snap?
I think he must do, because why would he come with that angle and then work back? Like if you thought the center was coming to you, you're thinking I need to beat. Well, first of all, I need to drive through the inside pad of the guard and keep the guard from drifting out here. But second of all, Murphy's actually shown an ability, particularly against Washington, to beat this combo when you might not be expected to, right?
Right.
I think he only gets wide like this to then get in the head up type of angle to then get the two-way go on the guard from inside, which is super impressive.
Yeah.
I think he only does that when he knows the centre sliding away. Is there a mic point that we could look at?
Oh, good. Yeah.
Don't think so. Unless, is it someone else on the line doing it? No. Okay.
Could the tell be the guard looking at him and not ever looking at the end or the edge?
Right. Griff thinking that he's got his eyes all the way here, whereas if he's on the slide side there, sliding out here.
So anyway, so we assume he's using his pre-snap indicators to his advantage.
Right. And maybe because they stem from like a shade or a reduced overlook into this four down it. Should also say this type of front, I mean, it's common in the league, but Macdonald runs this type of look. Okay, yeah. Macdonald run this type of look a lot of the time. This dude might be wider, but he also plays with a 6-tech, sometimes calls it a flex front. So this and this type of pass protection scheme translates to the NFL too. It's just empty with they don't even chip. It's just an empty pass pro with a slide to the 3-tech.
Yeah. So he expands to set up the two-way go, right?
Right.
And
closing space to create space, getting kind of head up leverage because now he can go the either way.
Yeah. And so he successfully baits that handout, right? And when he baits it, he lands his club.
How does he bait it? With the arm stutter?
Yeah, with like the stutter, like the face-up shimmy.
Yeah.
So he makes 71 make the first move. So he counters that, gets him right there, just nails him. But then it's not that costly because the guard's able to recover a little bit, right?
Yeah, the guard's kind of square still.
Yeah. So then this is where Murphy starts to show off the traits capitalizing on top of the smarts, on top of the rush plan.
Right.
Rush in the A-gap space. So he just he's able to like maintain his vertical path with the guard latching on to try to write him off, and then finishes him with that pull, that snatch, that push-pull at the end. And that's just crazy traits and power and balance do that. Because a lot of guys have to win by clubbing that arm down. And that he kind of wins right there, but not perfectly. A lot of guys right there get ridden off. But
yeah, it's a snatch through there.
Yeah.
Now the guard. Yeah.
Also his hips stay angled toward the quarterback too. That's so important. So it's a really impressive rush.
Yeah. So if you think about this as well, teams are going to have a real decision. Have I just broke it? I hope not. No. Teams are going to have a real decision about if this is Leonard Williams and you're in 5-man pass pro, are you going to slide here and have your 2 on this guy and leave Leonard Williams one-on-one with your guard? Or are you going to leave a guy who's really good at getting two-way goes on guards? Are you going to leave him one-on-one with your guard? Which is...
It's going to be hell. It's going to be hell on O-line. So
for guards as well, is like to do this on a 2-eye is so difficult, isn't it? Because of that ability to get a two-way go quickly and how wide this A-gap can get with this guy sliding away.
Right.
And like quick after the quarterback.
Right. So it makes you wonder, do they just say screw it and play with 6-man protection more often?
Right. And we did see teams really mix up their protection looks against Seattle down the stretch last year. A lot of 7-man chip and 6-man stuff.
And then if you see more 6-man protection to manage it, does Macdonald get frustrated and then start
blitz
rushing 5 and 6 more, and then you just become a 1-high blitz team again, which they have the corners for, and that's a way to make it easier on the linebackers because you're just blitzing them all day long.
Right.
You don't have to actually cover anything. I don't know. We'll see. We're getting ahead of ourselves. You would offset having a rough linebacker situation.
Ben Judge asks, is that move using the forward momentum of the guard to pull him down? Well, yeah, he gets the guard kind of leaning, so yeah. But the guard kind of just loses his balance with the quickness and the power.
The thing is, Murphy always has
forward lean.
Well, yeah, he's always balanced and controlled. He's always gathered. And a lot of guys, once they shoot their shot, they kind of have to win on the track that they're already moving, but he can reshape his body on the fly.
Yeah.
He's just so coordinated.
And pressure like this leads to bad throws.
Yep.
Okay, next play. So 2-eye. Now, this is a similar type of footwork, but this is a 2-eye against the combo. So he's getting a tight gap style combo. It's inside zone actually, but it's similar to like a duo type play where he's getting comboed here and here. And the common thing he does is a lighter guy, under 300 pounds, remember. I mean, his playing weight may have been over 300 pounds. We don't know. He might have slimmed down slightly for testing. But is his common way of handling the doubles to take the load off basically 600 pounds, 630 pounds, 40 pounds of mass coming at you is to bend this knee so you're turning away from this guy and you're sticking on your primary dude, which is as a 2-eye is the guard. So here, pretty good hand placement, good pad level and bend. But what's always impressive to me about him dropping the knee is his ability to pop up so quickly with power.
Yeah.
He doesn't really get moved, and he's not just sitting on the ground. He will fight through that.
Yeah, I've noticed even when he does get put on the ground occasionally, his recovery is so absurd. Like the lower body strength is just, it's nuts. It's something you only see in certain guys, like the Grady Jarrett or Geno Atkins types, even though that's a big spectrum of quality between Grady Jarrett, as good as Grady is. Geno's like a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Grady Jarrett is just kind of a perennial Pro Bowler. So Murphy is going to exist somewhere on that spectrum.
Yeah, and here's an example of how this is a difficult skill. If you watch 95, he kind of gets... He's a taller guy. And he does okay.
Yeah, that said, 95, I think he's a good player. Watching a lot of Texas this past
season. Yeah. He's interesting, right?
Yeah. He'll be interesting coming out. He seems like a solid...
Menahu.
Yeah, right. He seems like a solid third rounder. Like just a guy you appreciate to be on your team type of thing.
Right. Yeah, so the snake... Sorry, go ahead, Griff.
No, you're fine.
And here's the wide angle. You can see how much he doesn't really get moved back. The snail pointing out in the chat that the context of this as well was we were wondering about Johnny Newton. We've discussed that. I guess recent-ish news is that Newton, after falling due to medical reasons, and obviously he had a fracture in one of his feet, he is now having surgery on his other foot for a Jones fracture. So, I mean, there's a reason he fell, and that's unfortunate for him because he's a damn good player, but I don't know how quick he's going to be back and how that's going to impact his rookie year, if he's even going to play his rookie year. So right now, Murphy's not on the field, and this is an element to the discussion, the narrative that he didn't play as many snaps as Newton, right, Griff?
Right.
What was his snap count? Under 400 snaps?
Yeah, he played under 400 this year. I mean,
Now,
he has like 800 career college snaps,
which is crazy because
and Newton played like 650 this year.
yeah, this year alone, yeah.
So,
which that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, it's not like in Seattle he's going to be playing all of the snaps at all, is it? He'll be lucky to play a third of the snaps.
I think
That's probably the expectation actually. But if he's playing like half the snaps, I'd be very surprised.
I think probably somewhere in the 400 range is most likely. So if there's roughly 1,100 snaps now,
yeah,
with the 17th game,
yep.
So I think he sees about 430, 450 snaps, if I had to guess. But yeah, we have to keep in mind, like, he might hit a wall. He might hit a rookie wall just because he can't, like, his body can't hold up to the wear and tear of it.
Yeah, and I am, as well as he handles combo blocks in this game, and they're mainly the tight doubles, I am interested to see how he handles, like,
one gapping
doubles, yeah.
Yeah.
That type of stuff.
Yeah, where you can just kind of punch the first guy more.
And just against NFL, I mean, Alabama's line is pretty damn good, right? But just NFL lines week after week.
Yeah.
So the other thing with playing less snaps, something we mentioned before, but when you're playing less snaps, then your pressure percentage numbers, the sample size is a bit skewed in your favor in that there's less snaps, so your pressure percentage is. Go ahead.
You're more refreshed, right? And then also they can be more selective with when they try you out,
right? Like clear passing downs rather than every passing down, or every pass rush.
Like a lot of their tight snaps when they're in tight, that 5-man front, right, or 3 interior players and 2 outside linebackers. He didn't play a lot in that package. It was mostly their over G front where he was.
So what's interesting to me is obviously Seattle has Jonathan Hankins, who's a bigger kind of pure nose type, I think, in this defense. Obviously, they also have Cam Young in his second year, and he was working as like the pure nose type, and he's getting up to like 320 pounds, I imagine now. But Baltimore had Michael Pierce, who's like 350 pounds. Does Macdonald run with like a more dynamic nose? Because I think, there's no reason Murphy can't play this zero take nose on it if you pick and choose the right spots for him. I mean, here is a really impressive rep again. If that ball had been handed off rather than thrown on the RPO play, I mean, he's lagging into the backside A, handling that double, splitting it, popping back up right into the... You can see how he's back in that A gap, and he's causing issues here. Both blockers losing their leverage.
Yeah.
And is the easiest way with what we're saying about his technique being more suited to the 2-gap stuff, is the easiest way to get him on the field like year one, Griff, to pick and choose nose tackle spots, as stupid as that sounds? Or do they just say, look, you've got an entire training camp, we're going to coach you how to get off the ball as a 3-tech, not that he can't do that, but
right.
more effectively.
It'll be interesting to see. A lot depends on how much edge Draymond Jones is actually going to play. Like if he becomes a full-time edge, then they really are only one deep at 3-tech. That's Leo. Mm-hmm. So I think Murphy, I could see Murphy with like a 33% of his snaps being at nose, whether 1 technique or 2-eye, and the other 2/3 being a 3 technique. Because Leo will only play probably 700 snaps himself, which is going to be quite a bit.
Yeah, so we should talk about that news. So Draymond Jones's trainer sort of broke the news kind of that Jones was preparing to play outside linebacker this year or edge this year. And then there was a video that he tweeted out of him basically doing like W drills where he's bailing into like a flat. He's then shuffling along from like, say, the top of the numbers to the hash and then breaking downhill again, like various stuff like that, which is like outside linebacker drops. He also looks a bit lighter. Now, we should mention that that's only a continuation of what his role would have been, what was in Seattle, last year after they acquired Leonard Williams, because they wanted to put Jaron Reed, Leonard Williams as the D tackles, and playing so much 4-down looks. That meant Draymond Jones played outside backer along with Uchenna Nwosu going down, them lacking some run defense on the edge, so let's put Draymond Jones on the outside. I think the issue with that was seen, well, against the Washington Commanders, where they run a sim pressure. Draymond Jones has to carry the back out, and he didn't do it in the right way. Poor technique. I mean, the way they've been coaching that, I don't know how they installed that so poorly. But yeah, he didn't look natural doing that. If he's got a bit lighter, Griff, the vision there makes a bit more sense. Although your reaction to that news was trade him now.
My reaction was because they're moving him out there because they don't have any snaps for him inside. And Draymond Jones is not an edge rusher at the end of the day.
Like the whole vision is that you let him go to work on the passing downs as the 3 technique, but the problem is he can't actually hold up that often on the inside as a run defender.
Right. So this whole thing, one is it's a little overblown because, like you said, he was already an inside-outside flex kind of player last year, right? But then secondly, it's like you're paying him, you sign him to a 3-year, $51 million deal to be one of your marquee inside player. And unfortunately, he was never that good. Again, he didn't disappoint last year in the sense that he underperformed. They got what they scouted. They simply overpaid. And now they're at the point where they had to go trade for Leonard Williams because they sold an inside problem. And then they decided to draft another defensive tackle, 16th overall. What does that tell you? And now to the point where now they're moving Draymond Jones outside because they need to find snaps for him. So it's not that – I mean, I still think last year Jones was like an above-average player. He just wasn't an $18 million per year player is all I'm saying. So – or whatever his APY was. So – all I'm getting at here is like,
and just do you know what? Do you know what I'd also say? Like Draymond Jones last year, they moved him to the edge and nickel, right, which they ran for the vast majority of their snaps. But in base, again, because you've got Leonard Williams and Jaron Reed as your 3 tech and your nose, they played him as a 5 tech. So outside shoulder the tackle, he's going to one gap, and he's basically playing like how Red Bryant did, right? In real kind of layman's terms, like he'd be here, you'd have the 3 tech here, you'd have the nose, no you wouldn't, you'd have the 3 tech here, you'd have the nose here, and it would be like an under type front, but he'd be the big 5 and just knocking the crap out of the tackle. But the idea being, because he's one gap and it suits his skill set. But whenever there's a combo on him on the inside, is a bit of a problem. And Mike Macdonald doesn't use that 5 as much. He'll ask the guy, he'll ask the guy to do what he's good at, right?
Yeah.
But in an ideal world, he's going to have a 4i or a 4 tech, which is actually really what Red Bryant played, where he's going to 2-gap on this guy. And Draymond Jones has 2-gapping in his career. Like he did it with the Broncos. But he gets moved when he gets comboed as a 4i. Like I remember watching back that Denver tape and being like, okay, yeah, he can do a bit of 4i. It's okay. But oh my gosh, when they run duo or like downhill gap concepts, power without the puller stuff, he's getting kind of moved out there. He's on the edge of what you can get away with. A bit like he's on the edge of what you can get away with when he's a run defender on the interior. So then it's like, in a Macdonald defense, why I say all that, in a Macdonald defense, I think his base fit is even less clear. Because I don't know how much Macdonald's going to be able to bargain with that type of run D.
I think he's going to be annoyed the whole season with him.
And yeah, so it's a really, and if he's slimming down to play edge, then
he doesn't have the quickness to actually be worth being a 265-pound player. If that's what he's dropping down to.
He's probably like 275. All of this is also to show how rare a player Michael Bennett was, because I know they once again, when they signed Draymond Jones, the Michael Bennett role was mentioned, which let's stop.
And I get it, but like
he's not Michael Bennett.
Every Michael Bennett-esque player, I don't think has even come close to what you'd want that to be, right? Like no one in the league. Jerry Tillery didn't work out. Charles Omenihu, who kind of is a solid player. He's like the great value version of it.
I love Omenihu.
No, I like Omenihu, the player, but he's not Michael Bennett, right? Collier didn't work, obviously. The only guys that have is like Eric Armstead. And I'd still take Bennett over Armstead. Armstead's great, though. I'd still take.
Armstead's just not as explosive or dynamic.
Yeah, just not quite. We'll keep an eye on Keon White, though. He had a promising rookie year, and Darius Robinson. Those two guys could be the next Michael Bennetts.
Darius Robinson?
Why not?
I like it. I really liked him, but you didn't. If you were saying that, why didn't they draft him?
I appreciated him.
Okay,
appreciated him.
Fair enough. All right, we've got a donation from Eric saying, "Thank you, Derek. Eric, appreciate that. Love me some Griff and Matty. Such good deadpan humor. Great analysis. Thank you so much for this content. You are welcome, Eric. If you've got a question, please do get it.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate that.
Yeah. So Misfit asking, Misfit, look at you with some good Raven stuff here. Big edge, a la Van Noy, Clowney, urban type for Draymond Jones. So yeah, the urban type's that kind of 4 tech in base, right? Or the 6 tech in nickel, where he's playing to the tight end in nickel and he's 2-gapping on the tight end a bit more, which is what Urban did. He ain't going to be doing that. That was like a 22% of the snaps player. I can't remember exactly. Check out my article. I'm sure you have, Misfit. But listeners' article on how McDonald's fronts and personnel worked with Baltimore. But yeah, maybe the vision is Clowney, right? Because Clowney was, he's listed 267. Let's say it's 270 for argument's sake, to help my narrative here. I'm just gonna lie and say that Jones is 275 now, and Clowney brought a tenacity and kind of, when they're in like a bad call, or not a bad call, but they get a good call from the offense for their structure, so a bad call for the defense. Clowney just sheds a block to the inside or just takes his shot, like Nwosu did at 260-ish pounds for Seattle before he got hurt. Just being kind of that dynamic type of wrecker against the run game. I mean, Clowney's such a violent run defender, though. But yeah, that would be the vision for Jones, just a bit more beef on the edge compared to, Darrell Taylor, for instance, being out there on 1st and 10. Not to pick on Darrell Taylor, but even Derek Hall has a long way to go, even though he actually has some real play strength, which is intriguing. But yeah,
ultimately, this is about run defense with Jones. Yeah. I mean,
except I'm not that sure about him as a run defender. And last year, I didn't really see too much of an impact playing on the edge, even though I understood that's why they did it last year when Nwosu went down. So
yeah, I mean, we have to remember, like, Van Noy's 250. Van Noy's light. Clowney is probably not more than 260.
Well, he was listed 267, Griff. And remember, for my argument, I'm saying he was 270.
Okay, Clowney is skinny, man. Like, he has dropped weight big time.
Yeah, anyway, that's the thing.
Anyway, but he plays above his weight, right? So I think they want to get Clowney and Van Noy level play out of Mafe and Nwosu. I think that's what they want, the edge presence of those two guys. Different style of rushers, but like how they function in the scheme, when they're played and where. I mean, it's just, I think Macdonald views Clowney and Van Noy like as his like just classic edge players. And then Urban is more that hybrid guy. I mean, I still hope that when it's 3rd and long, Draymond Jones is in the rotation rushing guards. But it's again, like, even though I think he can still be like a Quentin Jefferson level pass rusher inside, which he is, he's still the fourth best interior rusher on the team behind
It's like,
Williams and Murphy and
how's he
Jeremy
gonna
Lee.
get? How's he gonna get any
So
snaps?
just trade the guy. Go trade him. Like we don't. If Derek Hall has a year two jump, like I think he will, because I think he has incredible traits, and he was a good run defender in college. He just needs to catch up to NFL speed.
I mean, he had some good NFL plays, like particularly defending the run. It all seemed a bit fast for him,
It's just too much. Yeah,
and
it was too much.
you
Right.
can also say the situation last year was quite messy. I know Devin Witherspoon pulled out and looked great for a rookie. Obviously coming in with different expectations, and then the defense, which is very much like was built around
Yeah.
a large part of his
It's
skill set.
it's
But yeah, I think for a lot of guys, it's not really fair to judge them on last year. Given like I give him a blank slate, and also give him the context of second year in the NFL.
it's like the Mariners. The Mariners have an exorbitant amount of resources at pitching, right? And then they
Right.
have a clear need somewhere else. So the discourse right now is liquidate some of where you have a surplus of talent for what you need. Seattle has honestly, I mean, it hasn't taken full form yet, but they have a really strong D line between at edge and in the interior. Like they're really strong, and they have clear needs in the back seven. Liquidate one of these pieces, package them together for a linebacker that you like across the league. It's what they ended up doing in Baltimore. They ended up trading for Roquan Smith. Go find a linebacker you like. So I don't know.
But Griff, the Legion of Boom was built with an 8 deep pass rush.
And what ended up happening to Bruce Irvin's career? Ended up killing his career as a pass
But
rusher.
Griff, they won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, good for the Seahawks, but did they have needs in the back seven? No, they were stacked
I
everywhere.
don't think so.
Uh,
um,
good stuff. All right, we're watching Byron Murphy.
yeah. What clip are we on? Like clip 4. John pointing out that Hall was playing through a shoulder injury. Yeah, I think he did hurt his shoulder, but like people get hurt in the NFL, it happens. Right, here we go. So number 90 is a 2-eye again. This is a pretty nice rep. We've already kind of seen this one. It's so funny to me just as we watch. I mean, this is super impressive. Like, his gap here, ladies and
Yeah,
gentlemen,
this
is
is
still the
awesome.
A gap, but this is just seeing ball declare. Because this guy is trying to press it. It's interesting he hits this front door. Is this just college running back?
Um,
Because, like, hello.
yeah, like it doesn't make sense to bounce it front side, right? Well,
Uh,
so I'm going to say something here about Murphy though. So this is a really impressive college rep,
right.
and I think it's great that he mirror steps and gets hands on the guard and then works back into the center.
What, with
But
his helmet like this?
yeah, like he's bracing for
And
it,
his
but like
shoulder?
he ends up on the ground. Now the recovery is awesome, right? The recovery is awesome, I think,
Yeah.
but him ending up on the ground, I think, is just demonstrative of the fact that no matter how impressive your strength and power to weight ratio is, 300 flat is still 300 flat, and there just isn't the
Or
mass.
297.
297 even, right? There just isn't the mass to be that kind of like he literally is on all fours. He bear crawls, man.
Yeah, this again is, as you said, the athleticism here is unreal. To
Right.
not die basically here,
And
metaphorically.
it's the Grady Jarrett thing. Grady Jarrett was a explosive nose tackle at Clemson, but you watch him, it's like well, he's a 3 tech in the NFL though. So like Murphy will play some nose and he'll be fine at it, but there's going to be some situations where you need Jonathan Hankins in there. You don't want Murphy playing nose in those situations. 2nd and 6, 2nd and 8, put Murphy anywhere. I don't care. But 1st and 10 or 2nd and 4, 3rd and 1, like make sure he's in the B gap, please. Like he's not a nose tackle; he's a 3 technique.
Now, McDonald spoke about loving his aggression. this is an aggressive play in that there is no reason for him to try and dip his shoulder here. He could just try and stick on this and play a bit more just to the guard. And yeah, the way he's anticipating through that combo is an aggressive type of play. And then to finish the ball, pop up again and finish the ball is very impressive. But as Griff says, whether that works in the NFL, I'm not so sure. I still don't know why the back didn't. I know they've got a back of scraping, but like, I guess this guy plays kind of
Maybe he just didn't like how narrow the A-gap got.
Yeah, which was partly Murphy, right?
Yeah. Right. No, you're right about that. So he did help spill it to 41.
Here's the wide angle.
Are they ball fitting this, or is the apex in the fit?
Well, this dude?
Yeah, he's in the fit. He's the edge. So no, they're gap fitting it.
Yeah, that'd be a tough ball fit.
So that made me think maybe the running back was trying to game Jalen Ford, but he's not. He's just being wrong, like trying to get Ford to stay front side and then cut back. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
No one really ball fits for real anyway. Like no team ball fits for real. I don't think.
People have been saying that.
So this is another rep where it's not a win per se, but it still shows the traits. Stacks up
just the
center,
juice.
and then he's like, I want you off me, so I'm just gonna like rip you and
effortlessly.
Yeah.
It just makes this look so easy.
Yeah,
like it's not easy.
Very few guys have this body type in the NFL. It's going to be pretty fun to watch as he develops a full rush plan. And like, again, if he can turn into the 3 technique we want him to, that will open up this stuff that he already does well even more. Because the guard will have to actually protect his upfield shoulder, his own upfield shoulder, his outside shoulder.
Right. So you mentioned the body type, and I don't think we got a chance to talk about this together. John Schneider said, and he was keen to kind of joke around that he wasn't calling him a Hall of Famer, but he compared his body type to Aaron Donald and his testing, like his athletic profile.
Yeah.
I mean,
what? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, what do you think of that?
Well, if you just compare his explosiveness and like density, body type wise. So Aaron Donald makes sense. Aaron Donald would be scaled down a little bit because he was like 6 foot flat, 285 at the combine.
Oh my gosh,
that's an insane rep. But so if you think of the body types of this type, you've got Aaron Donald, John Randall, Grady Jarrett, Geno Atkins. So like 3 of those 4 guys are Hall of Famers, and the 4th one is again like a perennial like top 15 tackle. So I think when Murphy's arrived, whatever that is, even not his peak, but like, okay, Murphy has introduced himself to the NFL. Whenever that happens, if that takes week 5 or even next year, I think that floor will be Grady Jarrett, like peak Grady Jarrett. And then from there, it's going to be whatever, how far he takes it. I don't think, in all likelihood, he's probably not going to be as good as Geno Atkins, because Geno Atkins, for my money, is a top 10.
Well, he does. That's what I was going to mention. He does compare a bit athletic profile-wise to Geno Atkins, of course, as well. The original undersized 3-tech, right? Right.
And I just don't think. I mean, I don't subscribe to this, but there is a very cynical view, and the most cynical view to take is like, well, he's Clinton McDonald, and he's going to be better than Clinton McDonald. But like that, just to say, like, what is the literal floor, the actual floor? It's Clinton McDonald, but he's going to be better than Clinton McDonald. I have faith in that. This right here is one of those reps we were talking about in the opening about can he get to the upfield shoulder on guard? So he's speed rushing the center. He's not like face up bobbing horizontally, trying to get him to overset. He's just like, I'm going to rush the outside half. So it's a speed rip.
Yeah, and the way he gets out this stance is, now typically you'd have this foot back, you'd pick it up and put it down, right? But from a short step, he just picks this foot up and puts it down. This is like a power step, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting how he's able to get so much get off out of that short, like that short of a stance.
Yeah. So it's, what is it? Club rip. So outside club with his left hand, get that right arm down and then rip through.
Yeah, it's like a real clamp, isn't it, almost?
Yeah. And his feet are just driving upfield. And then the explosiveness, the initial get off is great, right? The center does his best to angle him right there, and that's where you're going to win or lose. And then Murphy's bend, his bend through the contact. One, the pure bend, just the pure agility. Because a lot of guys, they might get that initial position, but they're just going to go straight up field and they're not able to bend back. So not only does he have the agility to bend through that, but to bend through the contact itself and just open the door. Like he literally turns the center into a door hinge. Like the center's left foot becomes a door hinge and the right side of his body becomes the door swinging open.
Right. And I wonder if we see Macdonald,
that's crazy.
In passing downs, do we see him line him up as a zero tech and play around with looks like this as well?
Definitely,
I think you have to, because NFL centers are more athletic than college, right? But they don't tend to be the most athletic guys.
Right. And the Rams did that with Donald, right? Like they would put him over the center, force man protection or force bob protection. And it's just Aaron Donald just nuking some 300-pound center.
Which chat here, when Griff says bob or man protection, big on big, right? So that's why we get this this one-on-one from the center on Murphy, right? Because this guard has this guy, this tackle has this guy, this center has this guy has this guy, this guy has this guy. Now, if you watch what Texas does, they actually drop, I think this guy drops out, and then they run like a little interior game, I think, here. Maybe, let's see. Or maybe it's for this guy here. Let's play it through. But ultimately, Murphy benefits from the one-on-one, and he's able to squeeze through the guard. So it's a pick game here for this guy looping around. See, this guy's wasted, and his eyes are out here. So then the idea is that this guy steps down, and then if we don't win with the slanting inside, this guy's going to make the play. Well, they padded back. Alabama picked up the loop principle of this pretty damn good. Issue for them is Murphy's too much of a problem.
The talent problem.
Even with the guard having pretty good awareness, it's just too much, too quick.
Too late. So definitely a rep like that translates to guard perfectly, or the 3 technique perfectly. Like imagine it happening.
Right.
Imagine he's rushing 71 and does the exact same thing.
And we talk about relatively low sack production, so only 5 sacks. But this is the type of play where you're not going to get the sack because the quarterback can feel you. This is the type of play where if you have the edge rush on this side of the field, then you get the sack maybe. But you don't have the edge rush, so you flush the quarterback out of the pocket. You get the pressure, but no one's getting the sack here because the QB gets out and then pings it over here incomplete. But you've pressured the play into a dead play. So context again of the situation. Now, all these other explosive 3 technique types, Griff, can you recall if any of them played more like nose or 2-eye? Like, because we've only seen him in this game as a 2-eye on the inside shoulder of the guard or head up on the center as a 0 tech.
He played very few B-gap snaps. And when he played 3 technique, it was like a heavy 3. In that scheme.
Yeah, I'm talking like other guys who come in the league. Have they had similar usage? Because
Jalen Carter played the 2.
Of course, but the undersized ones.
I mean, Grady Jarrett.
Was he Clemson?
Yeah.
That's a weird defense. Man, I'm glad that would have been a weird eval.
It was people didn't know what to do with him because he was playing one technique.
Right.
Kenny Clark is another one. So, I mean,
This
he's
looks at his.
He's going to be Kenny Clark, Grady Jarrett at worst.
Right.
And I mean, he's going to be something in between that and Geno Atkins, but that's such a broad spectrum, you know?
Yep.
Which is great. And then, and any falling anywhere on that spectrum validates the pick, you know? Like if he hits his floor of Grady Jarrett, like, I don't care. That's fine. Grady Jarrett's a really good player, you know?
Mm-hmm. You have any views on this play here, Griff? Kind of more the same, inside zone, slip combo.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing everything he can there.
It's another kind of example about the size thing, even though he's doing it's a fine rep, but it's just mass.
The 4-eye gets demolished.
Yeah, he gets washed.
He's fine. Like, Murphy's fine here.
Yeah, it's fine.
Is that Latham?
Yeah, it's just not a good rep from him.
That was who the Seahawks wanted, even over Murphy.
When?
In the draft, if Latham fell,
they
would have taken Latham over Murphy, yeah.
You think?
Well, Brady Henderson came out and said it. So.
Oh, right, okay. Interesting.
It's public info now. But, yeah, you can see why. Yeah. And they would have played Latham at guard, too.
Yeah, that would translate.
Yeah, you can see why. Like, he's so low. That's insane. He comes out so low, I mean, for, what, a 6'7" guy?
Don't know if he's on the field right now. No. Oh, no. That's him there.
Nice strong hook drop there, by the way.
Oh, did you like that linebacker?
I liked him in the 4th or 5th round. Look at him get eyes to see what his threats are. And then he gets depth and width and squares up and then bends back in case it was a windbreaker. Shame. I know it seems so pedantic, but like what?
Where did he go? Did he go in the 5th round?
He went in the 5th. What Jalen Ford is doing right now, and it seems so simple, Tyrell Dodson cannot do that. As odd as that sounds, this seems so simple. But like the Seahawks starting middle linebacker won't do that reliably. It's just strange. You'd think spot dropping would be easier, but it's an art, and it's tying together. Now, Ford has a lot of rough reps doing that, but it's just he has potential, was my thing. So, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I don't love some of that, but there's something there. Like clicking the heels and then crossing over. Anyway. Yeah, so solid rep. He's to the slide here, so he's just powering through. I mean, he gets really good pushback still. I can't go back, unfortunately.
Yeah. He's just pushing the double, so not a lot to do.
I mean, that's a problem rep if you're not... they're rushing 3 here, and this is... it would be very easy to just sort of be like, okay, we're rushing 3, we'll just do this, and I'm just going to push the center, and I'm going to take a play off. He doesn't take plays off on his tape.
No, sir.
Like so, to get... Yeah. I mean, that is an uncomfortable... I don't know, would you class that as a pressure? I think it moves the quarterback off the spot slightly.
I think it would register as a win. I don't know if it would classify as a pressure. The fact that the guard has to dive, though, to save you.
Yeah, I mean, this is offensive line beholden, but that's a tackle, basically.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
I mean, look at the poor center. The center is, like, losing it. during the shimmy.
He's like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
He gets destroyed on that.
that's just different
spot,
athletes.
that fun move, yeah.
Different athletes.
So what you gonna do? Yeah, I was watching the wrong player on the first time you showed that. So, okay, another example where
I think this is one of his favorite plays that he highlighted.
okay, so he drops the knee unintentionally. He's not.
Yeah, he's dropped the knee here. He's powering through and he's making the tackle. And I think this is the play he identified to the beat reporters as his one of his favorite plays to look at on his career. The tackle for loss he gets? No.
Yeah, it's a monster play.
But it's a very good play. And these are good linemen. I don't know about Alabama center, but
yeah, he's a little rough to watch.
He's big. So they're really sliding the protection to him now, which again, we've talked about it. In Seattle, you're going to have to make a difficult decision. Do you do it to Murphy? Do you do it to Leonard Williams? And Macdonald knowing that, and with Macdonald's skill in understanding pass protection schemes, using pressure to then cause them further issues, or even just rushing for in a way that's problematic for that pass protection scheme. It's a nice idea. I like the thought of this.
Mm-hmm.
Does dropping the knee translate in the NFL? Asked Blue and Green Zone. How successful will he be when dropping his knee? Yeah, dropping the knee translates in the NFL. It's something that Seattle's used for a number of years. Just depends on the type of lineman, what they like doing. I don't know how many guys use it as a primary move. It's usually as okay, I'm sick of getting smacked in the side now. I'm gonna use this technique as a change up.
Yeah.
Poona Ford did it quite a bit. Again, a shorter guy, a slightly smaller guy, although he did get up to some pretty big weight. But the shorter guys you can then pop back up, but they're already naturally low to the ground, so they've got less low to go, and then they've got less low to get back up again. It fits them. And then on how successful will he be when dropping his knee? Well, not as successful as in college, because just of the mass thing, but there's no reason it won't work.
Yeah, he's got to keep his hand placement, because then all of a sudden dropping the knee can turn quickly into just being on the ground.
Yeah, and the guard's just going up.
Yeah, so if he can just keep his hands firmly on the first his visual key.
Yeah, because what's impressive about this is he's almost dropping down, getting off the guard while turning it into the center and splitting the double and getting up. But I don't know if you can do all of that in the NFL. I think you sort of have to stick on the guard more while dropping the knee.
Yeah, it will be interesting to watch him adapt to the NFL that way.
Yeah. There's so many things I'm looking forward to watching when we get the tape of him, even in the preseason.
Yeah. Excuse me.
Okay, so he's not on the field right now. So any type of program that is wanting to get after the channel for showing a whole game. We're not doing that, so it would not be nice of you to do something nasty to the channel. Please don't do that. Okay, here we go. Very similar speed rush on the center here. Did he get tripped?
I think he.
Yeah.
Yeah, he loses his footing trying to squeeze through. What's impressive about his ability to speed rush on the center is that he's doing it from a head-up alignment. He's not doing it from an angle, from an edge.
He doesn't have the width to build up the natural space and speed.
Yeah. So again, it makes you think like when they actually put this guy at 3 technique, power stepping, what's it going to look like?
Yeah, that's what's so exciting. It's almost untapped, because we've never seen it. Definitely. And that's what they'll be thinking of.
Like he'll be weaponized. You'd think like, Texas would cut him loose a little bit on like 3rd and longs, but they just don't. Like this is as big as it gets. Stuff like this, really, where they'll at least like give him force like man protection,
and then say, hey, let's you can slant either way, or you'll actually need to slant one way because we're running the game for like a pick game. Blue and green zone, you only would drop the knee on a run play when you're getting comboed. So it could be a tight inside zone play where you're getting a slip tight inside zone combination where the the guard is kind of passing you over to the center, or it could be on a gap type play as well. But it's usually on tight run plays where you drop the knee. So inside stuff. Where you're looking to stay and play in your gap, whereas against the pass, you're obviously looking to get upfield and rush.
Yeah.
Here we go, 2-eye. Again, working that angle. I mean, wow, someone gets a horrid hit here. Oh no. Oh, I think the right guard just got knocked out. Oh god. No. That's an awful hit.
So I think he's winning the rep though if that collision doesn't happen.
Yeah. He's got to hit the guy turns, like there's like hello, there's this gap.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again it's that way of creating the angle on the guard. He reads that type of tight set, right? Where's the space? The space is outside. Good hand usage. He's working the rip through here to get off that and corner. And then this guy gets shoved into here.
That he can access his power from like any position is so impressive. And that's where being that squatty, explosive type of athlete pays such dividends. So.
Yeah, and that is Donald like.
Yeah. Right, or Gino like, right?
Right. But I'm just thinking more from the 2-eye thing.
Yeah.
The 4-eye thing, you know.
The I mean, no one's really going to compare him to Aaron Donald, but just back to Schneider's comments, like no one has Aaron Donald's feet. It's as quick-footed as Murphy is. Donald is just on another planet in terms of what he can do with his feet. So,
yeah,
like Murphy is at the ceiling of D-line athleticism, but he's not an outlier. Donald is a true outlier.
Yeah. And this is really what he needed to improve on in college. So there's the sacks where he gets the pressure and he was never going to get the sack. And then there's the occasional, like, oh, how didn't you finish the play there? And this is the how didn't you finish the play there play where he does everything. I mean, really, he doesn't actually have to do much with how they play this. And yeah, it's an elusive quarterback, but that's a tackle you have to make. And that's just disappointing for him.
You do wonder about the short arms.
Under 33 inches. You see the wide angle here. I mean, really, it's just about like a plan to bring him down. Like, you would think he would jump on the back or take off here. Like, his feet aren't breaking down, so surely you have to actually jump on him and hit him. Kind of grabs cloth.
Yeah.
That's an interesting counter. Working the 2-eye back to the club and then trying the spin.
Nice throw and catch.
It was. Wonder what happened to the curl there. Oh, don't worry. I think they... Oh, no. Oh, dear. Oh, dear.
Why, was he supposed to carry? Or...
No, I don't think so.
No.
I'm just being a knob.
Fuck good. Yeah, he's poached all the way. Yeah, he gets stalled on that one. I mean, you're not going to win every rep.
A blue and green zone, we spoke about Mike Morris in our rookie minicamp reaction. We also looked at some pictures of him and explained what he's being used as. But he'll be like an interior base end. But yeah, he's going to have a tough time getting snaps. Same for Cam Young. That's what the surplus does at the position, right? Like, one of those guys, don't be surprised if they get cut. Which sounds brutal, but like, you have a certain amount of players on your roster. Like, it might have to happen. Particularly with Cam Young. Basically, Cam Young or Jonathan Hankins making the roster is how I'd describe it. But I could be wrong on that. And as we've theorized, there could be a surprise around a Jaron Reed, maybe. Which would be very surprising because of how much of a leader he is.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, then these are the periods where he's not on the field.
Which speaks to Texas's depth, and you start to see why they didn't feel pressed to play him that much.
Brandon saying Cam Young hasn't even shown flashes, not sure he makes it through. Yeah, I mean, it's always going to be a tough transition coming from that defense where they slanted him so much. There was like the odd rep where you're like, okay, I see the vision. I remember breaking it down last year, but yeah, it's a tough one for him. Maybe, but yeah, year 2, we'll see. There seems to be this idea, Griff, that Macdonald stunt slots. Have you encountered this narrative?
Does he? I mean, maybe attached to his sim pressures. And
I don't. Yeah, maybe that's where it comes from, but like, he doesn't. Well, at least to my eye, not like against the run.
No, he doesn't, and he's going to need to. Like you saw against the 49ers, like the run defense was so bad that game. You can see why he needs to, and I think he will. I'm very curious to see how he tries to defend the 49ers structure and how he changes his own structure. Because the Ravens weren't built to stop Shanahan. They were built to stop Purdy. And I'll keep banging that drum. Because it wasn't like Shanahan, honestly, in many respects of the game, got the better of Macdonald, but it didn't matter because Macdonald knew he didn't need to break Shanahan. He knew he needed to break their quarterback, and he did successfully. So,
yep. So so interested to see how it plays out with him, with McVay, even the Cardinals and their run game. This again, kind of your wide angle thing. Just the flash of it on the move. That's weird how he falls. He just gets snatched.
Does he just slip?
I think he gets snatched. Kind of, I think he sees the ball come out and kind of just stops. Oh no. What happened to our corner here? Oh no. Slot fade. Oh no. How much better would college football be if they banned the slot fade? You're just not allowed to run it.
Well, it would be less prominent if they had normal hash
If they
marks.
banned it? Oh, right.
Yeah.
Normal hash marks. Yeah, it would. But I like college hashes, you know?
No, they're annoying.
What?
They're killing the sport.
Buddy, you can send a corner blitz.
No, they're killing the sport. It's why we don't have linebackers anymore.
Yeah, you're right. But we also get fun pressures.
What's more important, hook drops or fun pressures? So
pretty impressive.
Playing a lag technique here.
Well, we've seen him lag like this, right? But to then cross the face with the pull. Look how quickly his eyes progress to here and then anticipating that here.
Well, he is the... Oh. Okay, I see what you're saying now. I have the run direction wrong. My bad. Yeah. So he's pushing because he sees the pull. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, because we've only ever seen him get into the backside A. So I think this is playing off the pull. Again, they are tipping that a bit, aren't they? But it's good pre-snap recognition, and even NFL lines tip that. Think about the level of the guard compared to the level of this guard.
Yeah.
He's slightly more back. Okay, let's try and find another pass rush rep. So Griff, kind of closing thoughts on this study here as he ball rushes that poor center.
Just pure power. I mean, this game shows everything off. It shows what he is right now and also shows what he could be with those speed rushes. The power is legit NFL elite power traits. The run defense is really technical, like he builds his house. There's so much to work from. Like he can be so much better too. Really excited to see what he does in an NFL scheme that lets him.
This is insane.
Coach more. This is nuts. Yep. Instant processing, using the fact that they're in shotgun to his advantage, knowing what the play will be, or what run direction it will be. Crossing face. I mean, he's getting extra credit here.
This is linebacker background here as well, shuffling down the line to meet the back, staying square.
Yep. That's not something you can. That's hard to teach. That kind of movement. But it's the keying too. It's like you have an elite athlete who also is great at diagnosing the play.
Yeah, this poor center's like, I need to execute my back block. I'm really gonna get out and do it, and he just gets the outside pad and just get off me.
He ends up falling to the ground the way that like extras die in horror movies.
Like, oh.
Like you need like you need a Wilhelm scream as he's falling to the ground.
Thank you. Yes, I was blanking on what to call that. Yes, exactly that. Yeah. Poor dude. He'll probably get drafted in like the fourth round.
Yeah.
Chat, do you know the Alabama center?
Center down. Tragic, man. The center probably like had an existential crisis watching the film on this game.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a tough one.
If I was the center, I wouldn't even watch it.
We've probably got about 10 more clips of his left if it's midway through the third.
Yeah. Hey, good play from 41 here. That
Was
previous
it?
play.
Oh, well, we'll never get back to it now. Well, who did Jalen Ford get drafted to?
I don't even know. I did know because obviously I paid attention to the draft, but I forgot.
Wasn't it the Saints? I want to say.
Oh, I think you're right.
I can't remember though. Oh, go on, lad. Oh dear. Oh, what have we got here, Griff? Just two invert. No. Oh wow, that's a cool coverage. That's like
Is it zero cross?
I don't know, but it reminds me of like a 46 bear type thing where they're swiping here.
That's very interesting. That is a hell of a play from.
I love Texas's defensive scheme.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, all the sacrifices they make up front to the pass rush is worth it because it allows the whole engine to run.
Yeah.
Hell of a play.
Oh. It's interesting. Is this our guy? I think so.
Yep. Hit his throw.
The center transferred to Ohio State. He's a Buckeye now. Thank you, Henry. Good luck to him. That's traits. Yeah. That's the real takeaway from this, isn't it? As well, he's more traitsy than anyone that Alabama had, other than Latham, but he's not a edge, so we didn't get to see that matchup.
Rampancy asks, is Byron being left out of top 5 for rookie defensive player of the year a slight or realistic because he's the DT? I think more so they probably just didn't think to add him, but regardless, I don't think he'll be a candidate to win because I don't think he'll have enough snaps to like collect the counting statistics that will be needed to win that sort of thing. So even if he is like, say, the most impressive rookie, on a rate basis, I don't think the volume will be there.
Yeah, I'm with Griff on that. I don't think he has the playtime opportunities, even if he is playing well. Like, there's only so many snaps to go around. As we said, maybe it's just over a third, like 400 out of 1,100. Griff was talking about. I think it could be slightly less than that, and he could still have a damn good year. And we're talking about a guy as well who is he going to have the sack production for it? Maybe, but
yeah,
like he will benefit from having a more of a consistent edge rush, like just NFL schemes. But Oh, Griff, look at this strong hook drop. Why doesn't he melt underneath this root?
Well, because he needs Ken Norton
Oh, no, hang on. What? Because what?
Because he needs Ken Norton Jr. to coach him.
Oh, right, okay.
But the spacing of this is terrible, though.
What, too deep?
It's a 6-man rush, right? Or it's a 6-man drop.
Is it clap? What? I mean, it looks like quarter half.
Can I count? There's 6 guys in coverage, right? I think that's the problem.
Then you would like him to be more aware of the final 3, no?
Yeah. Why is he not middle hook dropping? Why is he field hook dropping?
Because the fast 3 out, but can we have some in calls from the corner? No, anyway, it's fine. Oh, really? They went down the field on that as well, Griff. That's not a good look for your guy.
Is Murphy on the field? Is that him?
No, I don't think so.
I think 95 gets a good rush, though.
I thought we were going to get a 3 tech rep. He might not even get on the field again because they're winning big, I think. 34-24. I guess he will. That being said... Oh, here we go. Yeah, here we go.
We've already seen this.
Is this the end? Yeah, there we go. Completed.
Boom.
How about that? So that's Byron Murphy. Griff, I think you did a good job summing that up, as you always do. Really excited. I'd watched that tape before, but revisiting it after the draft, thinking, knowing a bit more about Macdonald's defense, thinking about what he can do, having had all these discussions about the type of player and heard other people talk about him. The big question marks are, how does he take to playing more 3-tech? Can he still play like that in the NFL as a nose and do the 2-gapping stuff? And then if he can pick up the 3 technique stuff, how good is in the quickly pick up, we're going to get play from a 3-point, we're going to power step, we're going to get upfield a bit more, we're going to play a bit more 1-gapping style. The sky is pretty high. Like year 3 projection is a how long did it take Matty BK to really pop off? Was it year 3 or year 4?
He was good. He was good year 3, but year 4 is when he became an elite player. I think Murphy has a better pedigree though coming out than Matabuike. Like Matabuike, he was a 2nd rounder, 3rd rounder.
He was a lot more raw, right?
Yeah, and Murphy, like we've discussed it, he's raw. And he's not raw per se. Mm-hmm. He's just not like experienced in other areas.
And and he doesn't have the sack production and. He's been played in these weird, he's played as the nose and the 0, and he's not, we haven't seen the actual get upfield 3-tech stuff. There's an element of projection to that.
Right, an element of projection, exactly. For how he was used, he's very developed for that role. So that bodes very well for when he actually gets 3-technique reps under his belt. Like, I expect the catch-up to come pretty quick. It's just, we have to see it first.
Well, I, for one, am looking forward to seeing it. Chat, I hope you've enjoyed that breakdown. We'll be doing this on Thursday as well with a look at Christian Haynes, the guard from UConn. We have some really good tape for that. I'm going to cut up the Senior Bowl and his impressive performance there so that we're not cycling through. It'll just be all Christian Haynes stuff. And we also have some high quality opponent games, I think, as well. Need to speak to someone about that, but I think I have a few files, so we'll dig that up. Need to get the Tennessee All-22. If you know someone, hit us up. RIP to one of the film accounts which went down on YouTube. Very sad, but anyway. Follow Griff on Twitter at CMikeSpinMove. Follow me at Matty F Brown. Follow the pod at Seattle Overload. Please do promote the show. Share it with a friend. Share it with your family. Keep coming in the live stream and interacting. There's so many great questions tonight. I know I starred some of them. We'll answer those ones at a later date. Eric, thanks for your donation. Really appreciate that. If you want to donate to the show, there's also a Stripe link in the description. Stripe is generally slightly better for us because YouTube, which is, providing an excellent product, no doubt about it, for free, they take 30% of our super chats and we get 70%, whereas Stripe is a bit friendlier in terms of the split. So just something you should be aware of when you're giving your hard-earned cash to us. So thank you very much for that. And we'll be back on Thursday. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. Keep supporting. We really do appreciate it. Griff, closing wisdom.
Matty, you need to watch